Chapter 11 Mr. 2, Nail Fist. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Who are you? Bell gave Locke a surprised look. Who I am doesn't matter. What matters is that you're still alive. Locke turned and scanned the thousands of rebels, his eyes blazing. An invisible, powerful force radiated from him. Buzz, star. Suddenly, the rebels' eyes rolled back, and they collapsed. Clang, star. Ding, star. The sound of weapons hitting the ground echoed. One by one, they dropped from lifeless hands. Bell, Vivi, and Nami stared in disbelief as the rebels fell like dominoes. They'd felt a terrifying power surge from Locke right before the collapse. The three watched Locke's back, marveling at the young man's power. Locke was pumped. Dropping that many people with a stare was awesome. It was perfect for showing off. Now that's what I call a power move. Too bad I kicked Mr. 1 so hard he's probably orbiting the planet. Star. Whatever, who cares about that clown? Ding, star. Congratulations. Mission, complete, reward acquired, nail fist. Star. As the system's message faded, Locke felt another surge of power within him. He turned around, but the three people looked like they'd seen a ghost. He frowned. What? Am I that scary? Nami was the first to find her voice. Locke, what was that just now? Conqueror's Haki, Locke replied. He started toward Princess Vivi, but Belle stepped in front of her. What do you think you're doing to the princess? Vivi, seeing Locke approach, took a few steps back, Karu the duck waddling protectively in front of her. Don't worry, I'm not going to hurt you. Vivi knew she didn't have a choice. This guy was too strong. She fixed her gaze on Locke. Then what do you want? That she wasn't naive enough to think he was helping out of the kindness of his heart. I said I could help you stop this rebellion, end the war, and expose the mastermind behind it all. I could even bring Rain back to Alabasta, make it better than it ever was. Is that true? Hearing Locke's words, Princess Vivi's voice was laced with excitement. Someone with this much power helping her? She was sure to succeed. There's just one condition, Alabasta has to become my territory. Locke's plan was simple. He wanted the system's rewards, sure, but Alabasta would be useful too. After all, I'm a pirate. Gotta have some crew, right? Princess Vivi was lost in thought. After a few tense minutes, she spoke. Okay, I accept. It was a tough pill to swallow, but she knew Alabasta was running out of time. She couldn't do this alone. Besides, Locke could take out thousands with a single glare. If he wanted, he could replace her father any time. Princess, Belle started to protest, but Vivi silenced him with a look. Belle wasn't stupid. He knew this came down to his own weakness. He clenched his fists, frustrated. To get his reward faster, Locke grabbed Vivi and Belle and headed straight for Crocodile's base. On the way, Locke laid out Crocodile's plan. After hearing the truth, both of them completely lost faith in the world government and the Navy. I can't believe the Navy's in league with pirates. No wonder they turned a blind eye to this warlord of the sea. Princess Vivi said, furious. It's just the world government, the celestial dragons, and some bad apples in the Navy. Locke sighed. There are good people out there, too. They just have different beliefs and priorities. Take naval hero Garp and Whitebeard, one of the 4 emperors. They had different beliefs and were on opposite sides. The world wouldn't change until Whitebeard fell, but it was too soon for that. All that mattered was how Locke's arrival would shake things up. At Baroque Works. You're saying someone powerful rescued Princess Vivi? Yes, Mr. 1 replied. And you don't know how he beat those rebels? I don't. He knocked me out. When I came to, the rebels were just down. Mr. 1 lowered his head, embarrassed. Getting taken out like that wasn't exactly a point of pride. So this guy's stronger than you? Yes. Mr. 0, do you have any other orders? Is this going to mess with the plan? A man with slicked back hair, a long scar across his face, a golden hook for a left hand, a black fur coat, and a cigar, Sir Crocodile, one of the 7 warlords of the sea, with a bounty of 100 million berries. Crocodile smoked his cigar, lost in thought. After a moment, he said, "No, just stay put for now." Mr. One turned and left. Those ancient weapons. I still need someone who can read the poneglyphs. Should I head to O'Hara and grab one? Crocodile muttered. Robin was still in O'Hara. The island hadn't been destroyed yet, but the buster call was coming. Meanwhile, Locke and the others were resting in a tavern when a man in a swan suit walked in. Locke's eyes lit up. Von Clay? He'd been looking for Crocodile. This just got easier. They'd been walking for a whole day and couldn't find Crocodile. After all, the manga hadn't exactly pinpointed his location. Eventually, Nami and Vivi had stumbled into this tavern to rest, and now, a stroke of luck. Ugh, I'm so tired. Locke, do you even know where Crocodile is? Nami whined, leaning on the table. Don't worry. We'll find out soon enough. Nami just groaned in response. Ignoring her, Locke walked straight toward Von Clay. He got right up to him and said, "Mr. Two." Huh? Von Clay looked up at Locke and said, "What are you talking about?" Mr. Two, also known as Von Clay, a senior officer of Baroque Works and a main fruit user. Ballet Kenpo. The graceful swan dance. Suddenly, Von Clay attacked Locke, but Locke was ready. Haki armor. 10-finger pistol barrage, boom, star. With a single punch, Von Clay went flying through the tavern wall. Everyone in the place stared. What was that? Nami and the others looked over. Locke followed the trail of Von Clay, who'd been blasted out. Bang, bang, bang. .11 distinct impacts resonated in Von Clay's stomach. He started choking, his eyes nearly popping out. He coughed up a huge mouthful of blood, then, his eyes rolled back, and he passed out cold. Locke casually dragged him away. Nami and the others followed. Luckily, Princess Vivi covered the wall repair costs before they left. Otherwise, the tavern owner would be crying himself to sleep. Locke, why did you just attack that guy? Princess Vivi asked. That's Mr. Two, a high-ranking member of Baroque Works. He knows where Crocodile is, so we're gonna grab him and make him take us. Locke explained, if he'd used his full strength, Von Clay would have died from that hit. That's the terrifying power of Nail Fist combined with Armament Haki, not even counting the power of the Flame Fruit. Chapter 12 Fire Tornado, Crocodile. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When Von Clay woke up, he stared at Locke, his eyes wide with horror. That punch had almost knocked him out cold. Locke watched him come to and said flatly, "Take me to Baroque Works, or else." He didn't finish the threat, but his eyes said it all. He radiated a domineering aura, a palpable pressure that crushed Von Clay. Von Clay's pupils dilated as he looked at the young man. Cold sweat beaded on his forehead. Locke let up, and Von Clay gasped for air. That pressure had been terrifying. He looked at Locke, panting. He knew that if he refused, the kid would kill him. Okay, I'll take you. Locke grinned. That's the spirit. Let's head to Baroque Works now. Locke, is Crocodile really that strong? Princess Vivi asked, glancing at Locke. Yep, Locke said, stroking his chin. Then can you beat him? It'll be like an adult swatting a fly. Locke chuckled. They soon arrived at Baroque Works, only to be confronted by over 200 armed people. These were probably the low-level grunts. They'd obviously been alerted by Von Clay's arrival with Locke's group. This was actually a good thing for Locke. Take them all out now, and it's done for good. Halt. Who are you? A woman with a huge blue afro stood before them. This was Miss Doublefinger, real name Paula, a spike fruit user. She blew a smoke ring, pointed at Locke's group with the cigarette in her hand, and drawled, "Kill them." That with that order, the 200+ goons charged, weapons raised. Belle sprang in front of Princess Vivi, and Kara the duck waddled protectively to her side. Nami stood behind Locke. Locke, seeing the mob rushing toward him, grinned. Let's see if this works. Fire style, flame burst. A massive jet of flame erupted from Locke's mouth, surging towards the crowd. Everyone's eyes widened at the sight of the inferno, even Paula's, boom, boom. Aya! Screams filled the air. Where the flames passed, nothing survived, even Paula was engulfed. Her fruit powers were useless against the sheer intensity of the flames. It wasn't even a contest, scorched bodies lay scattered across the blackened ground. The heat was so intense that those standing behind Locke were drenched in sweat. Von Clay trembled. He knew that if Locke wanted revenge, he was dead meat. After all, these guys had acted on his signal. Too bad for them, Locke wasn't interested. He'd leave them for Luffy later. Wow! Amazing! Princess Vivi exclaimed. Humph! Of course. That's my captain. He's the best. Nami said proudly. Captain. Princess Vivi murmured to herself. They moved forward, only to be faced with another 1,000 or so opponents. These were the million-belly grunts. That loser Paula went down so fast. He even told us to come up here first. Mr. 4 grumbled. Enough, Mr. 1, cut it out. It's not Paula's fault she lost. This guy's strong. I just didn't expect her to go down so quick. I gathered all the officers here to deal with him. Mr. 1 said grimly. He's that strong. Mr. 4 muttered. Locke surveyed the 1,000-strong mob and Baroque Works officers without a hint of fear. Attack, that the officers and the horde of grunts charged Locke, to take them down quickly. Locke glared, *WHOM, ***thud. Thud. Thud, figures dropped like flies, even some of the officers. Those still standing stared at Locke, eyes wide, sweating bullets. This is his strength? Mr. 3, the wax fruit user, stammered. Fire tornado, *whoosh, *A dragon-shaped tornado of fire appeared. Several officers scrambled back in terror. Candle armor, knowing he couldn't escape, Mr. 3 activated his fruit power, encasing himself in a sphere of wax. Sever, Mr. 1 also activated his fruit power, hardening his body to withstand the attack, boom, A deafening roar shook the ground. A massive crater appeared, flames licking at its edges. The group cautiously approached and peered inside. Everyone was down. Not even one of Locke's attacks had been survived. Their estimation of his strength shot up again. The whole battle was being broadcast in Crocodile's office at Baroque Works. I didn't expect the kid to be so powerful. His power is fire. Could it be the flame fruit? Crocodile mused, watching the monitor. Let's go. He's right here. Locke said, striding forward. The others followed close behind. Arc sand dune, a crescent-shaped blade of sand hurtled towards Locke and his group. Seeing the attack, Locke knew it was Crocodile. Iron nail, Locke coated his right fist with armament Haki and unleashed a powerful punch, boom, the sand blade shattered, but the force of the punch continued onward, boom, pillars and walls crumbled, and a figure emerged. Crocodile, cigar in mouth, regarded Locke, blowing out a smoke ring. You'll be buried here. Without further ado, Crocodile attacked. He lunged at Locke, right hand outstretched. Desert hand, if he touched Locke, the water in his body would be sucked out, leaving him a shriveled husk. Fireball barrage, dozens of small fireballs appeared around Locke. Though small, they burned with incredible heat. A direct hit would instantly melt internal organs, shush. Shush. Shush, the fireballs launched, one after the other. Crocodile recognized the heat and quickly manipulated the sand to shield himself, dodging aside. The sand ignited and melted on contact. Crocodile now regarded Locke with serious consideration. This kid's no joke. He's pretty damn strong. Chapter 13 3 Million Baileys, Encountering Hawkeye. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Fire escape, great fireball. A massive fireball erupted from Locke's mouth, hurtling toward Crocodile with intense heat. Salon, A desert storm materialized before Crocodile, which he then manipulated to collide with the fireball, boom. Powerful waves of flame radiated outward, leaving a huge crater at the point of impact, whoosh. Crocodile's coat was scorched, his hair disheveled, and his face covered in dust. He looked roughed up. Locke narrowed his eyes. He couldn't afford to drag this out any longer, he needed to finish this quickly. Shave, *whoosh star. Locke suddenly appeared behind Crocodile, winding up a right fist for a backhand punch. Armored Haki. 10-point nail strike. Spotting the incoming attack, Crocodile quickly parried with his golden hook. He was running on fumes, and a direct hit from Locke would spell disaster, boom. With a deafening roar, Crocodile was sent flying, crashing through stone pillars and walls for what seemed like an eternity. His eyes widened in disbelief as he hurtled through the air. Bang, 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 a cacophony of snapping bones echoed from his back until he finally came to a stop hundreds of feet away. He coughed up a mouthful of blood and then blacked out. Having dealt with Crocodile, Locke approached Princess Vivi and the others. They were awestruck by the sheer ferocity of the battle. "I never imagined it could be like this," Belle exclaimed. Locke walked up to them. "Let's go. Time to restore Alabasta and reveal the truth." The next day, inside a room. System, daily sign-in, ding. Host receives reward, pirate ship, modified, Locke's eyes lit up. A pirate ship? How is it different from a regular one, ding. This system provided pirate ship features, autopilot, navigation, acceleration, unlimited fuel, defensive capabilities, and offensive capabilities. The pirate ship is stored in the system space and can be summoned at any time. Locke did an excited little dance. As the day wore on, Crocodile's scheme unraveled, and Alabasta was on the road to recovery. Thanks to Locke's tears of the water god, it began to rain in the parched kingdom. The people rejoiced and wept with relief as the rain poured down. Princess Vivi recognized Locke as the hero of it all, publicly crediting him for Alabasta's salvation. Later that day, Locke and Nami arrived at the docks. Nami eyed the ship with confusion. "Where did this come from?" "I just, found it," Locke replied casually. Nami didn't press the issue. Soon, a crowd gathered behind them. Princess Vivi, her father, and several ministers approached. "Locke, are you leaving already?" Princess Vivi asked. I am a pirate, after all. Don't forget the request we discussed before you left, okay?" Locke said. "I haven't. I told my father, and the ministers agreed." Princess Vivi replied. "Great. Here, take this pirate flag. My crew is called the Black Dragon Pirates. Might come in handy someday." Locke then turned to Nami. "You're staying here. A younger brother of mine might show up here eventually. Team up with him in the meantime. Learn what you can from Princess Vivi, you might be able to help me down the road." "Okay." Nami agreed. "Anything else I need to know?" Locke asked Princess Vivi and the others. "One more thing, Crocodile and the Marines captured him." Princess Vivi said. "Oh, really? Those Marines sure are quick." Locke grinned. "Alright, I'm off." Locke boarded the ship, and it automatically set course for O'Hara. As Locke's ship sailed away, his bounty poster began circulating around the world. In the New World, a man covered in medicine bottles sat on a chair aboard a whale-shaped pirate ship, studying the wanted poster. Gururarara. He burst into hearty laughter. "Interesting kid." Elsewhere, a red-haired man examined the poster. "Is this the guy Luffy keeps talking about?" He glanced at his empty left sleeve, a reminder of his sacrifice a year ago in Windmill Village. He hadn't used his powers to save Luffy back then, but had instead given up his arm for the boy's future. He hoped the missing arm would be a weight on Luffy, urging him to change the world. "I wonder how that kid's doing," the redhead murmured. At naval headquarters, a Marine officer with justice emblazoned on his coat puffed on a cigar as he scrutinized the bounty. "Better hope I don't run into you." With that, he incinerated the poster. Scenes like this played out across the globe. This bounty was for Locke, and it had reached 80 million belly. He was officially on the map. Locke grinned at his poster. I wonder what it'll be after I hit O'Hara. After days at sea, Locke arrived in the West Blue, home to the archaeologists of O'Hara. But they were unaware of the danger that was silently approaching. Locke hadn't been idle during the voyage. Besides running into and taking out a few pirate ships and marine vessels, his system's sign-in rewards had been mostly useless. Nearby, a peculiar pirate ship with a large cross on its mast was rapidly closing in. Burning green flames flickered atop the candles lining the ship's rails. Beneath the cross sat a man with short black hair, piercing yellow eyes, a distinctive mustache, a top hat, a burgundy coat, and white pants. He carried a long sword shaped like a cross. The ship closed the gap, and both Locke and the swordsman simultaneously noticed the other. Locke had drawn his reverse blade sword out of boredom, never expecting to encounter Hawkeye here. Hawkeye took one look and thought, so this is the man who's been making waves. Without a word, he drew a small knife and aimed it at Locke's ship. A green arc of energy flew towards Locke, who returned the attack with a slash of his own. The two attacks collided with a deafening boom. A powerful shockwave rippled through the air, roiling the sea. Surprised that Locke had blocked his attack, Hawkeye studied his opponent more closely. He sheathed the knife and drew the long sword from his back. Locke narrowed his eyes at the sight of the blade. That's the Black Sword Yoru, one of the 12 supreme grade swords, known as the strongest black sword in the world. Star. You know this sword? Hawkeye's voice cut through the air. However soft Locke's thoughts were, Hawkeye had heard them. A swordsman's ears were keen. After all, Locke remained silent. Without hesitation, Hawkeye swung his blade vertically, unleashing a massive wave of green energy toward Locke. Draw your sword and strike. Chapter 14, Battle against Hawkeye and arrive at O#039, Hara. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Time to draw steel. A deep blue gash slammed into a vibrant green one. Boom. The clash reverberated, sending sword energy scattering in all directions. Both ships sustained minor damage. Ding. An electronic chime echoed in Locke's mind. Reward for engaging Hawkeye, Master Swordsmanship. Locke would have jumped at the chance even without the system's prompting. He shot Hawkeye a glance, a smirk playing on his lips, then leaped. Moonwalk. Shave. He rocketed through the air, closing the distance on Hawkeye, who braced for the onslaught. Dragon's Nest Barrage. Locke, wielding his reverse blade sword, unleashed a relentless flurry of strikes, waves of sword energy hammering toward Hawkeye. Hawkeye countered with a sweeping arc, another emerald chop splitting the air. Boom. Clang. Locke landed on Hawkeye's ship, his blade colliding with Hawkeye's black sword. Night, sparks showered them as their swords locked in an X-shaped stalemate. Hawkeye leapt onto his seat, unleashing another green energy wave. Locke twisted, narrowly avoiding it, and retaliated with a slash of his own. Tornado Slash. A powerful strike tore through the air, but Hawkeye blocked it with a horizontal parry. Metal screamed against metal, sparks erupting in a blinding shower. Hawkeye assessed Locke, then sheathed his sword. He sat down, and Locke mirrored his action, returning to his own ship. They locked eyes, a silent understanding passing between them, the burning passion for swordsmanship. In that moment of quiet intensity, gazes collided, hearts raced, and the future hung in the balance. Cough, cough, ding. Congratulations. You have achieved master swordsmanship. A flood of advanced swordsmanship knowledge surged through Locke's mind. His skill transcended mere expertise, reaching the realm of true sword masters. Hawkeye sailed away, now regarding Locke with newfound respect. He had once seen Locke as an insignificant pirate, but after their duel, Locke had become a formidable power to be reckoned with. Locke sat on the deck. They soon arrived at O'Hara. The renowned archaeological sanctuary of the West Sea was soon to be obliterated by the Navy's buster call. Locke anchored his ship in a secluded cove and headed ashore. System, initiate location check-in. Ding. Reward granted, Hamatora. Modified. Hamatora, grants supersonic movement within a 10-meter radius. Isn't that a move from My Hero Academia? Perfect for sneak attacks. Definitely a game changer. Locke muttered. Bang, bang, bang. shells began to rain down on O'Hara. The islanders were caught completely off guard, cut down before they could even react. Screams filled the air as fires erupted across O'Hara. Homes were reduced to ashes, and the bodies of the inhabitants lay scattered on the ground. 10 Navy warships were stationed at the port, bristling with over 1,000 Marines. Leading the operation were Admirals Kazan and Sakazuki. The core team included Vice Admirals Flying Squirrel, Enigmo, Doberman, Strawberry, and Stahleberg. This was an overwhelming force. On a warship, Sakazuki held the golden Den Mushi to his ear. "We've reached O'Hara. Operation Buster Call is now in progress." At Navy headquarters, Fleet Admiral Sengoku, holding the silver Den Mushi, barked, "Ensure no one escapes the island." He hung up, gazing out the window of his office, lost in thought. The Buster Call was underway, and the Marines were ruthlessly eliminating any survivors they encountered. Shells pounded O'Hara relentlessly, the air thick with screams. At the Tree of Knowledge. A group of archaeologists gathered, their faces etched with worry. Their bodies bearing wounds from the assault. A white-haired woman urged a young girl, "Robin, get out of here. You're O'Hara's hope. You can't die." Tears streamed down Robin's face, but before she could respond, someone whisked her away. Moments later, a squad of Marines stormed in, slaughtering the archaeologists. Locke surveyed the devastated town and the corpses of the islanders. "I never imagined I'd stumble upon the Buster Call by chance. I wonder how my presence will change the course of this tragedy." About an hour later, Akainu listened to a report from the Golden Den Mushi. "Reporting, sir. The island has been purged. Only 2 individuals managed to escape." "Incompetent," Akainu roared before slamming the receiver. He turned to Kazan. "Come with me. 2 got away. We can't afford any errors in this operation." Kazan remained silent, following Akainu. Bang, 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 a fierce battle was raging. 5 vice admirals were relentlessly attacking a single man. His body was covered in wounds, his consciousness fading. He was on the verge of collapse. This Buster Call was even more ruthless than previously known. If it hadn't been for one person, Robin may have already escaped. Boom. The man spat out blood and collapsed. Defeated, the remaining 5 vice admirals turned their attention to Robin, as Enigmo approached her. Robin closed her eyes, bracing herself for her fate, but nothing happened. Was she dead? Why couldn't she feel any pain? She opened her eyes and saw a man standing before her. Blood trickled from the corner of Enigmo's mouth. He had clearly been injured. Who are you?" Robin stammered. Locke didn't answer. He focused on the 5 vice admirals. "I didn't expect my arrival would alter the Buster Call like this. There's no way Robin would have gotten out of this without me. She's here now, so I'll help her." Locke thought. "Who are you?" Enigmo demanded. "That's Rock, the guy who took down a Shichibukai. The pirate with a 300 million bounty." Enigmo shouted. All eyes turned to Locke. What was a 300 million berry pirate doing here? But they wouldn't run away in fear. They couldn't believe that 5 people couldn't defeat him alone, let alone 2 generals. They were confident and prepared to unleash their full might. Shave. Armament Haki. Iron body. Blue walk. Finger pistol. Locke had to respond. Fire fist. A flaming fist shot out, incinerating their attacks. Fire powers, a devil fruit user. Doberman exclaimed. Sea of fire. Boom. A wall of fire erupted, engulfing the area. The flames were intense, with a wide attack range. Iron body. They braced themselves with iron body, seemingly convinced that it could withstand the attack. They knew they couldn't endure such a massive assault, so they focused on mitigating the damage. Boom. They hit the ground. Their bodies were charred, their skin blackened, and smoke curled off their bodies. The ground was scorched, blackened, and flickered with dancing flames. Robin stared in shock, thinking, this man, he's so strong. But she couldn't help but wonder, why does he want to save me? Suddenly, 2 figures appeared, cloaked in navy coats emblazoned with the word justice. Both towered over 2 meters. Akainu and Kazan assessed the fallen vice-admirals, then fixed their gaze on Locke. Dog Bite Crimson Lotus. Ice Age. Chapter 15, Duel between two generals. This time they really became famous. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Dog Nip Red Lotus. Phoenix Beak. A lava kobold and an ice-covered giant bird charged Locke. Akainu and Akiji jumped into action, wasting no time. Armament Haki. Nail Fist. Locke's hands glowed with armament haki as he simultaneously punched the magma dog's head and the frozen bird. Boom. His right fist smashed the dog's head, and his left leveled the bird. Akiji seemed surprised that Locke neutralized his attack. Interesting. Ice Age Capsule. A wave of freezing air blasted towards Locke, instantly icing everything in its path. Fire Wall. A wall of flames erupted in front of Locke, the fire and ice colliding in a blast of hot and cold air. Whoosh. A figure materialized behind Locke. Hellhound. Akainu's right fist morphed into magma, extending rapidly to strike Locke. Locke whirled around, his right hand, now coated in armament haki, met Akainu's fist. Nail Fist. Boom. Their fists collided in an earth-shattering explosion. A red energy radiated from Locke's fist, contrasting with the black emanating from Akainu's. The two haki-infused fists crackled like electricity. Sizzle. Akainu gritted his teeth and recoiled. Even one punch from Locke's nail fist, enhanced by advanced armament haki, was brutal. Akainu and Akiji were more reliant on their devil fruit powers than pure physical combat. This guy. Akainu glared at Locke. Locke's strength was beyond anything he'd imagined for a 90 million bounty pirate. Nearby, Akiji exhaled a chilling breath, forming an ice blade. Shaved. Akiji darted behind Locke, slashing with the ice blade. Locke, sensing Akiji's movements with observation haki, swiftly drew the reverse blade sword he'd kept at his waist after his fight with Hawkeye. Boom, the blade met the ice knife, unleashing a shockwave that blasted outward. Clang, clang, they traded blows with incredible speed and skill. Reverse blade drawl. Locke slashed upwards, sending a wave of sword energy towards Akiji. Bang, bang, Akiji dodged, sizing Locke up. Not only is he strong, but his swordsmanship is insane. This guy can't be allowed to live. Ice spears. Akiji conjured 5 icicles in his palm and launched them at Locke. Locke sliced them down with a single stroke. The moment he did, Akainu attacked. Great eruption. Akainu's right arm transformed into a massive magma fist, erupting towards Locke at volcanic speed. Second stage reverse blade drawl. Locke unleashed a rapid double strike, the first to deflect Akainu's attack, the second to strike at Akainu. Boom. Clang, clang, Locke was once again trading blows with Akiji. Seeing his opening, Akainu surged forward, making it a 2-on-1 fight. Each powerful attack sent shockwaves throughout the area, attracting the attention of every marine on O'Hara. Now this is a fight, Locke said, his eyes blazing. Akainu and Akiji were shocked by Locke's power. Neither could land a decisive blow, they had even sustained several injuries. They simply couldn't match Locke's physical strength, and his nail fist was a nightmare to deal with. Soon, thousands of marines swarmed and surrounded Locke. The marines looked at the devastated landscape, the fallen vice-admirals, and stared wide-eyed at Locke. Locke simply widened his eyes in response. Boom. A wave of Conqueror's Haki erupted from him, instantly knocking out every marine who had just arrived. This sudden display caught Akainu and Akiji off guard again. Conqueror's Haki. That kid, Akiji gasped. He, Akainu, and Kizaru lacked that power. He never expected a young pirate to possess it, and with such force, they could both feel the crushing pressure of his haki, and sweat trickled down their foreheads. Hellhound. Phoenix Beak. Bring it on. 30 nail punches. Locke's muscles bulged, his fist igniting with the power of the flame fruit. Boom. A deafening roar echoed as thick smoke and dust obscured the three figures. An eruption of terrifyingly hot and cold air blasted outward. Gravel, ground, trees, and boulders were obliterated. The earth cracked, trees snapped, and debris flew in every direction. Cough, cough. As the smoke cleared, Locke saw that Akainu and Akiji's marine coats were in tatters. They stood shirtless, faces covered in dust. Puff, Akainu and Akiji coughed up blood. Locke had actually beaten them. Akainu wiped the blood from his mouth and prepared to attack again, but buckled, collapsing to one knee in pain. Akiji wasn't in much better shape. Locke knew they were finished, though he could still fight. He didn't intend to kill them just yet. They might be useful later. He walked over to Robin, who was hiding nearby. He looked at her and said, "Come with me." Robin was stunned. The battle had shattered her understanding of combat. Snapping back to reality, she glanced at Locke and nodded. Locke swept her into his arms in a princess carry and fled, using Jeppo. Hours passed. The fallen Marines and Vice Admirals slowly regained consciousness, staring in shock at the devastation. They also saw the shirtless and severely injured Admirals Akainu and Akiji, ignoring Locke's escape. They quickly carried Akainu and Akiji away. How to deal with this mess was far beyond their pay grade. Akainu was in charge, so he'd take the fall. Locke had already arrived on his ship, Robin standing beside him. The pirate ship had set sail. He wondered about the inevitable increase in his bounty. He'd certainly made a name for himself, defeating the Buster Call, 5 vice admirals, thousands of marines, and wounding 2 admirals. The world would know his name. He had just slapped the Navy and world government in the face. The next move was theirs, but Locke wasn't worried. When they came for him, he'd be coming for them. News of the incident spread like wildfire, flying to every corner of the world. Chapter 16 Billionaire, Reactions from All Parties. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Naval Headquarters. Warring States slammed his fist on the table, roaring, "Where the heck did this Locke guy come from?" Silence filled the room, especially from Akainu and Akiji. The failure of the demon-slaying order was a huge blow to the Navy, and they'd lost a lot of face. Everyone was quiet except for Garp. Above Warring States' angry outburst, the sound of munching could be heard. Garp happily chomped on a rice cracker, seemingly enjoying Sengoku's frustration. Maybe he was just an old friend finding amusement in his misfortune. Sengoku glared at Garp, then exploded. "Garp, are you eating my rice crackers again?" "Ha ha ha." Garp grinned, picked his nose, and spoke with his mouth full. "Yeah, I know this Locke guy. Not super well, only met him a few times. Didn't pay him much attention back then. Just saw him as a regular kid. Guess he really leveled up. I met him when I went to the East Blue to see my grandson a few years back. They seemed to be buddies then." Garp paused, rice cracker crumbs flying. "So, Sengoku, what's Locke's bounty at now?" He, who was sitting nearby, spoke up. "This Locke kid's worth 1 billion berries now, but he's seriously powerful." Kizaru chimed in, still with that sleazy grin, going on and on about how scary he was, how he kicked butt, and how he was a supernova. Sengoku had finally calmed down a bit. He turned to Akainu and Akiji. "How are your injuries?" They had been back at headquarters for a few days, and after some rest, were almost fully recovered. "Marshal Warring States, we're doing much better. Thank you for your concern." Akiji replied. "It's nothing. But if I run into Locke again, I'll take him down myself." Akainu growled. The thought of it made him seethe, lava practically boiling off him, eager to crush Locke. Warring States stared at Locke's bounty poster, lost in thought. "1 billion berries," he finally declared. "Marshal Warring States, isn't that a little high?" Akainu questioned. "Remember the personnel we assigned to that demon-slaying order? Is this really just a small-time pirate? We'll launch an operation to capture him in a few days. You two, Garp and Kizaru, get ready for this." Warring States stated firmly. No one dared to question the Marshal's decision. Soon, Locke's bounty posters were plastered everywhere. New World, on the Moby Dick, a massive pirate ship, the strongest members of the Whitebeard pirates had gathered. Whitebeard examined Locke's bounty poster in silence. "This kid's a real surprise. He took down the demon-slaying order single-handedly." Whitebeard knew just how formidable that force was. "Can you believe it? A few days ago he was just a 30 million berry scrub. Now he's a big shot. Marco, what do you make of this Locke?" Whitebeard asked his son. Marco replied, "What this Locke kid has been up to is pretty unbelievable. But whether he's really worth that billion berries is up for debate. Maybe the Navy underestimated him and got caught off guard. Vista, commander of the 5th Division, spoke up, is Pops thinking about making Locke one of our sons? Whitebeard chuckled. I might be, if Locke knew Whitebeard wanted to adopt him, he'd swap his medicine with hot sauce in a heartbeat. Keep an eye on this Locke kid. Whitebeard instructed. Got it, Pops. Wano country, a huge man with 2 horns downed his drink. He glanced at the bounty poster in his hand, featuring Locke's photo and the absurd reward. 1 billion berries for some punk. Is Warring State senile? He roared. His voice was already booming, and the alcohol only made it louder. A young crew member spoke up nervously. Boss Kaido, calm down. He's just a boom. Kaido sent him flying with a swing of his club. Shut your trap, punk. Kaido bellowed. The poor guy barely said a word before Kaido knocked him senseless. Talk about unjust. The rest of the crew trembled, terrified of saying the wrong thing and meeting the same fate. Locke's takedown of the demon-slaying order had made him infamous, and everyone in the New World was taking notice. Some were even calling Locke the 5th Emperor of the Sea. Morgan's knack for sensationalism was in full effect, and Locke's name and exploits were known worldwide. East Blue, a pirate ship sailed the waters. Locke sat on a deck chair, thinking, we're hitting Rogue Town, then heading to Eni's lobby. After that, this trip to the East Blue is done. Rogue Town, where it all began and ended, the place where the pirate king Gold, Roger was executed. It's also near the entrance to the Grand Line. Time to head to the New World, Locke murmured. Robin was nearby, shocked as she looked at his bounty poster, 1 billion berries. He's a major pirate. Who exactly did she get mixed up with? After days at sea, Locke and the crew finally reached Rogue Town. The system rewards these days have all been pretty useless. Hopefully, I can get something good in Rogue Town. After all, the Pirate King died there. Just as Locke's ship approached Rogue Town, a Marine burst into an office. He threw open the door and exclaimed, Colonel Smoker, we have a problem. A pirate ship is headed this way. Sitting in the office was a man with short silver hair, a justice coat draped over his shoulders, goggles around his neck, and a cigar clamped between his teeth. He looked up, annoyed. It's just a pirate, soldier. Why are you so flustered? Act like a Marine. It's not just any pirate, sir. It's the one with the billion-berry bounty, the one that's been all over the news lately. The soldier stammered. Smoker immediately grabbed the bounty poster on his desk. It was Locke. Why do pirates like him always end up here? There aren't even any strong people here. Is he seriously just here to beat up on weaklings? Smoker quickly said, as soon as he arrives, monitor him closely. Don't engage. Just observe. He snatched up the Den Mushi and called headquarters, Naval Headquarters, *Puru, Warring States answered, Marshal's office. Who is this? Marshal Warring States, this is Colonel Smoker from Rogue Town. We have a code red. Locke is headed here. Requesting immediate orders. Locke, after talking to Smoker for a while, Warring States immediately called Garp and Kizaru. Locke has been spotted in Rogue Town. Prepare yourselves and head to the East Blue immediately. Receiving the order, Garp and Kizaru readied themselves, then led several naval warships towards Rogue Town. Locke's arrival made both Sengoku and Smoker uneasy. Sengoku was worried that Locke would slip through their fingers, and Smoker was worried Locke would wreck the town, at least with Garp involved. Sengoku wasn't as concerned about a total failure. He was just afraid of Locke escaping. Rogue Town only had Smoker, and he was outmatched. Locke, meanwhile, was completely unaware of the chaos he was causing. Chapter 17 Fight against Kizaru, Garp arrives. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ding! Congratulations! You've successfully signed in and received the reward, Toothpick Prison Video. Locke was taken aback by the reward and immediately checked his system inventory. No way, is this for real? He found a video button, clicked it, and a scene popped up with 4 guys. 3 were huge, muscular dudes, and the other was this skinny, monkey-like guy who looked totally out of place. Suddenly, one of the big guys gave him a shove, and the skinny dude went sprawling. The skinny guy, "Hey, what do you think you're doing?" That the big guy ignored him and just started laying into him with punches and kicks. A few minutes later, Toothpick, as it turned out, was bruised, swollen, and bleeding from the nose. But it wasn't over. The big guy started pulling down his pants. Songlong has appeared. Songlong has broken free. It was like the dragon was raising its head. Songlong's body was so hot, you could practically see the dragon's tendons, and its head trembled as it took in the fresh air. The big guy broke Songlong's seal, and then took off Toothpick's pants. Seeing the dark void that exudes an evil aura, Songlong became more energetic, as if it wanted to break through. The other two big guys also set free their own Songlong, and three of them were staring at Toothpick. Toothpick went pale. He knew what was coming, so he just closed his eyes and accepted his fate. 3 dragons emerged from the sea. Locke couldn't watch any more and immediately bailed out of the system inventory. Phew, he exhaled, breaking out in a cold sweat. It had really freaked him out. Locke felt his butt clench and shook his head, trying not to think about it. What kind of reward is that? Scared me half to death. That's way above my pay grade. Locke went to Locke Town. He took Robin around, buying some everyday stuff, food, and a few changes of clothes. Robin got some, too. Then, they headed over to the execution site. There was a raised platform in the center of the square, the spot where Roger was executed. After taking a look, they left. As for the famous sword sold there, Locke skipped it. He already had one, might as well leave it for Zoro. Smoker had been watching Locke's every move in Locke Town, tailing him from a distance. Sengoku said Garp and Kizaru were on their way. Where are they? Smoker asked a nearby marine. Reporting, Colonel Smoker, Vice Admiral Garp and Admiral Kizaru are en route. Smoker frowned, hearing they still hadn't arrived. Hopefully, Locke won't cause any trouble in Locke Town before they get here. After grabbing a bite with Robin at a tavern, they returned to the ship loaded down with bags of stuff. Seems quiet since we got here. Quiet before the storm, more like it. Smoker's been following me. Does he really think I haven't noticed? Locke glanced back at Locke Town and smirked. Whatever. Mission's done. Time to head to the next stop, Eni's lobby. Just as Locke finished speaking. 8-span mirror jewel. Suddenly, countless blinding light bombs appeared in the sky, speeding towards Locke. Fire prison. A huge ball of flames immediately engulfed the pirate ship. Bang, bang, bang. Some light bombs hit the sea, setting off explosions, and others were engulfed by the flames. Robin looked around at the fiery red sky. Except for the blue water, everything was red. The sudden attack stunned her, but she quickly found a safe place to hide. She knew the fight was about to get intense, best to stay out of the way. A figure appeared in the air. Kizaru looked at the ship engulfed in flames and said, "Oh, I didn't expect him to be able to block that." He'd used his devil fruit powers to rush over, hoping to catch Locke by surprise, but he had been stopped. Kizaru had short, slightly curly black hair, sunglasses, stubble on his face, and a lanky build. He wore a yellow and white striped suit, purple tie, dark green shirt, and white leather shoes. The only difference was his expression, which looked vulgar and deserving of a beating. After the flames died down, Locke spotted Kizaru in the sky. He didn't expect him to come after him. Kizaru saw Locke too, and his body started glowing with yellow light. Suddenly, he was right in front of Locke. Light speed kick. A leg shot out towards Locke with the force of an explosion. Boom. Locke kicked back, his leg colliding with Kizaru's. Boom. Kizaru was knocked backward, reappearing a short distance from the ship. That brat's got some power. 8 mirrors. Kizaru conjured a mirror-like light in his hand and fired it at Locke. The yellow beam shot toward Locke. Fire dragon. A red fire dragon appeared, slamming into the yellow beam at extremely high temperature. Boom. Air pressure rippled through the air, whipping their hair and clothes. The two stood their ground, sizing each other up. Kizaru still looked as cocky as ever. Locke was just as relaxed. Locke knew Kizaru was stalling for time. The Navy wouldn't send him alone. He was probably waiting for Garp to show up. After all, he'd taken down a Kainu and a Kiji. Once the Navy realized his strength, they'd definitely send someone powerful after him, that someone being Garp, the legendary Marine, the man hailed as a naval hero. "Not bad, kid," Kizaru said. "You're not so bad yourself," Locke replied. "I know you're stalling, but I won't give you the chance." Blade draw. A blade of light flashed out, heading towards Kizaru with intense sword energy. Amano. A long sword made of light materialized in Kizaru's hand, and he swung it, boom. The blade of light dissipated, and Kizaru was suddenly in front of Locke again. He swung his sword, and Locke blocked it with his reverse blade, clang. The two swords met in an X, with sparks flying from the impact, clang, clang. The two traded blows in a furious exchange. Locke clearly had the upper hand. Kizaru's physical skills and swordsmanship couldn't match Locke's, putting him at a disadvantage, boom. The two separated, and Kizaru now had a shallow cut on his face. Although it wasn't serious, he'd clearly lost that round. This time he got serious. "Ever been kicked by light?" he said. "Light speed kick." Whoosh. A leg appeared in front of Locke. Locke saw it coming, dodged, and threw a right fist. Armament Haki. Nail fist. Boom. Kizaru was sent flying, stopping himself in mid-air, looking a bit rattled, but at that moment, a marine warship with a dog's head figurehead appeared in front of them. Several more marine warships followed the lead ship. A tall man wearing a marine cape stood at the front of the warship, wearing a dog-head hat. It was the naval hero, Garp. Chapter 18 Reign of Fire, Repelling Garp and Kizaru. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Garp heard the sounds of a fierce fight nearby and quickly headed toward the commotion. He spotted the young guy on the ship and grinned. "Bring me some shells." Several marines scurried to grab cannonballs and piled them next to Garp. He picked one up and hurled it at Locke's ship, then followed with the remaining 5, whoosh star. The cannonballs flew faster than if they'd been fired from a cannon. Locke saw them coming and swung his sword, aiming at the projectiles, bang bang star. Locke knew Garp was just testing him. It wouldn't really hurt him. The sword's energy sliced through the cannonballs mid-air, causing them to explode. Before they even reached him. Moonwalk. Shave. Garp appeared in the air and sped toward Locke, seemingly running on thin air. A massive fist materialized in front of Locke, who threw a punch of his own, boom, star. Their fists collided, creating a shockwave of air and an invisible force that radiated outward. Sparks flew as red and black lightning crackled around them, the result of their clashing Haki. Locked in a stalemate, they continued to unleash their power, creating immense pressure for everyone present, especially the ordinary Marines, who were breaking out in cold sweats. Kizaru, being a general, fared a little better, boom, star. The two broke apart, exchanged glances, and Garp burst into laughter. "Ha ha ha. You're pretty good, kid. Way better than my grandson." He then picked his nose and wiped it on his navy coat, looking anything but a naval hero. Locke grinned back. Kizaru chimed in, "Is Lieutenant General Garp planning on capturing this kid and throwing him in Impel Down?" Garp glanced at Locke and said, "Catch him. Definitely catch him. Let's see if he can actually hold us off." Instantly. Whoosh, star. Two figures flanked Locke. He looked left at Kizaru and right at Garp, then raised his hands. 30 nail punches. Double dragon strangulation. Locke coated his hands in armament Haki and swung at Kizaru and Garp. As two fiery dragons materialized behind him, the dragons roared towards Kizaru and Garp, engulfed in flames. Bang bang bang, star. Explosions erupted as Kizaru and Garp retreated. Kizaru took some damage. Although he'd clashed with Locke's fist, his armament Haki was no match for Locke's, let alone his nail punches. His right hand was now shattered, rendering it useless. "I should have just dodged instead of trying to take those scorching dragons head-on," Kizaru grumbled. Garp wasn't in much better shape. His right hand wasn't broken, but it throbbed with pain. Locke's seemingly single punch was actually 30 rapid-fire punches, each packing the same power. It was like Garp and Kizaru had been hit by 30 consecutive punches in the same spot. That was the frightening power of the nail punch. This guy. Garp frowned. Locke was stronger than he'd anticipated, especially with his nail punches. They were tough to defend against unless someone was significantly stronger, which was unlikely given Locke's current power. Rain of fire. Suddenly, the sky opened up, and it began to rain. Fire. Each flaming raindrop sizzled as it hit the sea, instantly causing it to boil and release plumes of white smoke. Any sea creature caught in the downpour was instantly cooked alive. The unmistakable smell of cooked meat filled the air. Garp was now fully armored in Haki, while Kizaru had already disappeared, fleeing the scene. Both knew how devastating the fire rain was. Kizaru knew his Haki wasn't strong enough to withstand it, so he'd bailed long ago. Only Garp remained, and a flaming raindrop landed on his body. *HSSS*. Garp sucked in a breath. Even with his armament Haki, he couldn't completely block the intense heat. It was hotter than magma. Garp didn't stick around. He quickly used the Marine 6 techniques to escape to safety. The rain of fire was a widespread attack. It took him 3 minutes to reach safety, but he wasn't unscathed. Several spots on his body were burned, leaving noticeable wounds and small holes that bled and smelled of burning flesh. It was a gruesome sight. Locke was stunned by the power of the attack and quickly stopped it, fearing he would destroy his own ship. He glanced at Garp and Kizaru at the port, then fired up his pirate ship and made his escape. As he passed the Navy warships, he destroyed them with a fire fist, leaving the Marines aboard to perish in the sea of flames. "That bastard!" Garp roared, standing at the port of Rogue Town. Nearby, Kizaru watched Locke disappear, then looked at the burns on his own body, still reeking of barbecue. The burnt meat was his own, and the smell of scorched blood lingered in the air. No matter how fast he was, he'd still been caught in the intense rain of flames. As Locke made his getaway, Garp located Smoker and called Sengoku, *blue star. The phone rang, and Sengoku picked it up, hearing Garp's voice on the other end. "Locke got away." Sengoku was surprised. "Even with you there," Garp replied, "his abilities are difficult to counter, especially his fire powers and that 30-hit combo. Plus, Kizaru and I were both injured. Locke destroyed the naval ships I brought. Please make arrangements for the families of the fallen Marines." With that, Garp hung up. Sengoku was left in silence. They still didn't fully understand Locke's abilities, which was why they kept suffering heavy losses. On a damaged pirate ship, Locke made some hasty repairs to the areas that were hit. The battles over the last few days had taken their toll. Wiping the sweat from his brow, Locke gazed out at the endless sea. There are probably more tough fights ahead. I need to get stronger, and fast. The rewards from signing in just aren't cutting it. I have to make sure I check in at every special location as soon as possible. Locke muttered to himself. Soon after, news of Locke's battle with Garp and Kizaru at Rogue Town spread like wildfire. The newspapers reported that General Kizaru had been defeated by Locke and had left the naval hero Garp to fend for himself. Garp and Locke fought several times, leaving Garp seriously wounded, while Locke escaped unscathed. The story was exaggerated and sensationalized. At naval headquarters. Boom, Sengoku slammed his fist on the desk, enraged by the newspaper in his hand. He ripped it to shreds. What a garbage newspaper. Locke. It's always Locke. Sengoku gritted his teeth. He stormed out of the Fleet Admiral's office. Hanging in a corner was Locke's wanted poster, with a dagger stuck through his head. Locke's actions had caused the Navy to lose face repeatedly, and Sengoku was now consumed with anger. He was going to call a meeting to discuss how to deal with Locke. Chapter 19. Arriving at the Seven Water Capitals, the story of the hot spring room. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Great Route. Judiciary Island is directly controlled by the world government. The legendary shipbuilder Tom passed the design of the ancient weapon Pluto to his disciples, Iceberg and Frankie, for safekeeping. To get the blueprint, the world government sent CP-9 to Water 7 to investigate. When Locke arrived in Water 7. System, initiate check-in at this special location. Ding. Congratulations. You've received the reward, 7 rings covering the blazing sky. 7 rings covering the blazing sky, a noble phantasm from the Fate series, possessing incredible defensive power. They manifest as 7 flower petals, each capable of withstanding powerful attacks. Locke was stoked. Isn't that Amiya's noble phantasm? This is exactly what I need right now to up my defenses. Locke's mood soared, appreciating Water 7's scenery even more. The place reminded him of Venice, with its waterways and boats, a truly beautiful place. Locke took Robin to a shipbuilding dock, Dock 1, Carrera's best dock. Hey, anyone here? Locke called out. A man emerged. He instantly recognized Locke. It was Iceberg, also known as Espagu, one of Tom's disciples. He's now the mayor of Water 7 and president of the Carrera Company. Locke, the pirate with a billion-belly bounty, they call you the fifth emperor of the sea, Iceberg said, his eyes fixed on Locke. Oh, you know me? Locke was surprised. Who doesn't? You're all over the news. The papers are full of you, Iceberg replied. He then glanced at Robin. Nicole Robin, the sole survivor of O'Hara, known as the Devil Child, with a bounty of 500 million belly, Iceberg stated. Locke and Robin looked back at him. So, you're here to commission me to build a ship? Iceberg asked. I need you to repair my ship, Locke clarified. No problem, Iceberg agreed. Just then, a blue-haired man walked out. Who's out there, Iceberg? Frankie, wearing only swimming trunks, spotted Locke and stared. Their eyes met for the first time. It's the billion-dollar pirate, Frankie exclaimed. He wants us to fix his pirate ship, Iceberg explained. I'm counting on you guys, Locke said, then led Robin away. He was taking Robin to a hot spring. Where to next, Locke? Robin asked. The hot springs, of course. We've been fighting and traveling non-stop. A good soak is just what we need to relax our bodies, Locke said casually. They arrived at a hot spring hotel. Several charming waitresses greeted them. Welcome, they chimed professionally, smiling politely. Locke stared at one of the waitresses, causing her to blush. Before stepping inside, he approached the reception desk. A young woman in professional attire stood to greet Locke. Hello, how can I help you? Do you have co-ed bathing here? Locke asked seriously. We have men's baths, women's baths, and mixed baths. Which do you prefer? The young woman inquired. I'd like a private co-ed bath for two, please, Locke requested. The young woman glanced at Robin behind him. They exchanged knowing smiles. Young woman, you're quite the player for someone so young. Locke, this young woman is trouble. After paying the fee, Locke and Robin entered the hot spring room. Robin was wrapped in a white bath towel, doing its best to contain her curves. Her long, slender legs, her fair, rosy skin, and her neck, Locke watched, swallowing hard. Gollum, damn, Locke glanced down. Not now, you can't let your guard down. Robin stepped into the hot spring water. She looked at Locke shyly and asked, why is there only a mixed bath? Locke stared back, stating seriously, I specifically asked for a private bath, but the woman at the desk must have misunderstood. I guess we'll have to make do. Okay, Robin murmured. Locke thought, doesn't my system space have that thing? No point in letting it go to waste. Why not use it now? He glanced at Robin, blah blah blah. What are you thinking about? News of Locke's arrival in Water 7 reached CP9, Lucci and Kaku met in a tavern. Lucci, why is Locke here? Kaku, I doubt his presence will affect our plans. Lucci, as long as he doesn't interfere, we'll leave him alone. But we need to monitor him. The world government is very interested in him. Kaku, I'll tell the others. Lucci, let's leave it at that. And don't let anyone find us. Kaku, got it. The two then left the tavern. In the mayor's office, a blonde woman with tinted glasses, fishnet stockings, high heels, and black tights, flaunted her perfect figure. Khalifa knew Locke was in Water 7, but since Lucci hadn't said anything, she wouldn't act. Suddenly, the office door burst open. Mayor Iceberg entered, spotting Khalifa. Khalifa, did you need something? Khalifa placed a folder on the desk. Here's last month's earnings report, Khalifa said. Okay, if that's all, you can go now, Iceberg said. Khalifa swayed her hips as she left. A change of scenery. Locke and Robin soaked in the hot spring for nearly half an hour, feeling relaxed and refreshed. Locke stood to leave. Robin followed behind. Locke's bath towel slipped, turning Robin's face scarlet. the blue dragon stood proudly. Locke awkwardly yanked it up, saying sheepishly, "Ahem, let's go." Robin's reply was barely audible. All she could think about was Locke's blue dragon. Halfway there, she bumped into Locke's back, stumbled, and accidentally slipped. As she fell, she grabbed Locke's bath towel. Was it intentional? The towel came off again, but this time, Soryu was in front. Robin only saw Locke's backside. Locke quickly grabbed the towel again, then turned to help Robin, but he slipped too, tumbling down. They landed in a heap. A different atmosphere filled the hot spring. Locke thought, "Thunder Lord, help me. I'm reporting this hot spring for being cursed." Chapter 20 Judicial Island, Bolide. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When Locke Robin strolled out of the hot spring hotel, Locke's face looked much better. He was thick-skinned. After all, Robin, however, was flushed as a ripe apple and radiating heat. They stood in silence at the hotel entrance, the air thick with awkwardness. "So, Robin, wanna check on the ship repairs?" Locke finally said, breaking the silence. "Okay," Robin replied softly. With that, they headed toward dock number 1. As they left, a woman from the hot spring hotel watched them go, a smile playing on her lips. "Young love, ain't it grand? They're wilder than I ever was." She chuckled to herself. Little did she know, she was way off base. Locke and Robin hadn't been up to anything. It was just a clumsy stumble. Meanwhile, CP9 agent Gabra was on the phone bug. Locke and Nico Robin went to Iceberg for ship repairs, then hit up the hot springs. Lucci, on the other end, simply stated, understood, that they were keeping tabs on Locke, who'd become a major headache for the Navy and the world government. Soon, Locke and Robin arrived at dock number 1. There, Locke spotted Rob, Lucci and Kaku, now 2 of the 5 foremen at the Carrera Shipbuilding Company's dock number 1. Lucci and Kaku definitely noticed Locke, but they acted like they didn't know him, keeping busy with their work. Locke knew they were faking it, but he played along. It wasn't like he didn't know their deal. Instead, he walked over to a warehouse where pirate ships were being repaired. Iceberg and Frankie were there too, inspecting a pirate ship. It was Locke's ship, already good as new. It hadn't taken much damage, so the repairs were quick. When Locke and Robin entered, they all looked up. "Boat fixed?" Locke asked. "All done." Iceberg confirmed. After a brief chat, Locke and Robin boarded their ship and set off. Locke docked the ship at a convenient spot, and they caught the water train to Eni's lobby. On the train, Locke and Robin munched on something. Spicy strips. Yep, spicy strips, and the extra spicy kind. They each had a bag in hand. Locke had scored them during a previous sign-in. He didn't expect them to be so tasty, instantly bringing him back to childhood memories of grabbing them for 50 cents back in the day. By the time they'd finished, the train had pulled into the station. They tossed the wrappers into a trash can. That's when things went sideways. The place was swarming with Marines, all pointing their weapons at them. Yep, Lucci and his crew had ratted them out. The downside of being a wanted man. Bang, bang, bang. Bullets flew toward Locke, but they passed right through him. Elementalization. Locke's body turned into his element, while Robin used her devil fruit powers to deflect the rest. There had to be 1,000 Marines surrounding them. Locke's eyes narrowed, an invisible force erupted, and the Marines instantly dropped to the ground, unconscious. Conqueror's Haki is perfect for crowd control, Locke declared. System, sign in at this location, *ding, *, congratulations. You've received, reader's underwear, 100 pairs. Locke just stared, dumbfounded. What the heck are reader's underwear? What am I supposed to do with that? And 100 pairs? Locke grumbled. Just then, the system chimed in again, *ding, *, new mission, destroy Eni's lobby. Reward, unknown. Locke's eyes lit up. Unknown reward, huh? Gotta be good. Flames engulfed his body. Fire star. Suddenly, the temperature on Eni's lobby skyrocketed, and blazing meteors started appearing in the sky. These fiery projectiles radiated intense heat, bang, 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 the meteors crashed down, kicking up clouds of dust. Buildings crumbled, Marines were blown away, and the ground was littered with fiery craters. Eni's lobby was turning into a scene of utter devastation. Bang, 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 star. Screams filled the air as the once solemn island turned into a living hell. This place was a symbol of the world government. Locke was basically slapping them in the face, guaranteeing him more headlines. A flaming meteor struck the world government flag, sending it crashing down, engulfed in flames. These meteors might look beautiful from afar, but up close, they brought nothing but ruin. Some plunged into the sea, instantly boiling the water and cooking the marine life. The stench of cooked seafood filled the air. Panic gripped Eni's lobby. With over 10,000 Marines stationed there, plus tourists and island residents, the death toll was going to be massive. Robin was numb with shock. Locke remained stone-faced. He had no connection to these people. If they needed to be erased, so be it. Robin glanced at Locke. He seemed so harmless, but when it came down to it, he could be ruthless and inhumane. He hadn't spared anyone, not even the innocent bystanders, the children, the babies. They all died in his fiery onslaught. She used to think Locke was easygoing, but the Fire Star attack changed her perspective completely. Locke and Robin boarded their pirate ship and set sail for the new world. He wasn't concerned with the chaos on Eni's lobby. And Water 7. That was someone else's problem. He was pumped, eager to see what the system had in store for him. Ding, star. Congratulations. You've completed the mission. Reward, reader's slippers. Locke's eyes nearly popped out of his head. Are you kidding me? Locke roared. Robin flinched at his outburst. Back in Water 7. Hurry. We need to reinforce Eni's lobby. A fleet of marine ships sped toward Eni's lobby, carrying rescue teams. They'd received word of a catastrophe, and were racing to provide assistance, but when they arrived, they were greeted by a scene of utter destruction. Eni's lobby was nothing but ruins, pockmarked with craters and still smoldering. The ground was covered in pulverized corpses, and the sea was filled with the boiled remains of marine life, creating a nauseating stench. The horrifying sight was almost impossible to believe. After days of recovery efforts, they compiled a list of casualties. Over 10,000 Marines were dead, along with thousands of tourists and every single island resident, including countless babies and children. The news sent shockwaves through Marine headquarters and the entire world.